All right, so let's get back to taking a look at what's playing out in the polity. And here in the studios, we've got Dr. Tunde Olusunle, who's a media practitioner and the former presidential advisor from 1999 up until 2007. Good morning, and thank you.
Good morning, Chamberlain.
Well, quite a lot of scenario playing out. This weekend, there will be elections, in this off-cycle elections. But only yesterday, the Labour Party candidate did speak up, saying he's effectively joined the opposition. The APC responded to him, saying, look, stop maligning the judiciary. They don't give judgments based on public opinion. If you can't prove your case before the courts, so be it. If Supreme Court had ruled, appeal to God, just try and see how you can move. All of that just playing out, coupled with, grappling with the economic situation too. And I know the media has got to report all of these scenarios, and I'm sure that they keep the people in proper perspective. So from what you've seen, looking at all of these things playing out, and then looking at how the country seems to be headed, wherever it is headed, what do you think of this?
Well, thank you once again. The forthcoming gubernatorial election in Kogi State is going to be probably one of the most robust, and most interesting. I say this because of the sheer number of very important, in quotes, stakeholders to the office. It's been quite a while that we had more than 2-3 candidates that you can say are really, really formidable in the Kogi political space. There are going to be considerations along the lines of power shift. There are going to be considerations about, possibly religious things and so on and so forth. I come from Kogi West, which is the Yoruba-speaking area in Kogi State, and it is a measure of the fact that, my people are very, very strident in the advocacy for the governorship that we have 3 candidates as we speak. The PDP is on, the ADC is contesting, and the AA is also contesting in the state from my senatorial zone, which has 7 local government areas. In Kogi Central, there is perhaps just one candidate, Ahmed Usman Ododo of the APC, who has been floated by the outgoing governor, Yaya Bello. In Kogi East, that's the Igala-speaking area, there are quite a number. There is the SDP, whose flag bearer is Ajaka. There is an admiral, former chief of naval staff, Gabriel Usman, who is also staking the claim on the platform of the Accord Party. So, this is the kind of intensity. This is the kind of vibrancy we are seeing now. And, actually the kind of, let me say, suspended anticipation in the minds of our people. It's going to be very interesting, but like I said, the people, my people, so to say, in Kogi West, really, really are desirous of this position.
How do you see these dynamics playing out? Because, as you just highlighted now, the central, the east, the west, 3 in the west, even though the elders think they pitched their tent in 1. The governorship factor, you say he's floating the central candidate. Then in the east as well, you know how significant the Igala votes will be in the scheme of things. They are hugely boisterous and confident about what will happen. So what do you think will be the determining factor in which of all these dynamics that will take the day?
Very importantly, 1, spread, which candidate has rooted tentacles in all 21 local government areas in the state. Second, of course, will be experience. Who has that kind of experience that can move the state forward from, the stagnation it has witnessed in the last 7 years plus. Courage, comportment, and personality.
Yeah, but doctor, are these not ideal situations you're giving to us? Because we know in this country, look, if the governor says, I want this man, chances are that you will be the man.
Yeah, you see, but it's also possible for an incumbent governor who's floating a candidate to be flattened at the elections. And let me give you this scenario. The governor comes from Kogi Central, which has 5 local government areas. Unfortunately, his administration has not covered itself in glory all this while. You also have heard, complaints and, murmurs about salaries, for instance, not being paid. Inland states like ours are very heavily dependent on, their civil service and dependent on government, for sustainability. And then, when you keep the people hungry, people go on for months, they don't get paid. When they get paid, the director who is supposed to be on level 16, 17 is going home with 20,000 naira to feed a family and attend to other needs. There are subsisting, animosities in people who are also looking for an opportunity this time around to say, no, unfortunately, you've been here for so long, but we will not want a perpetuation of this. This is a possibility. People have also, alluded to the fact that the outgoing governor has more or less kept his anointed away from public view. He makes only measured appearances because, people believe that his expressive capacity may actually be constrained.
I know you know better about that one, but we had presidents who didn't participate in debates and they won. So
absolutely, So, but these are considerations. But critically, unfortunately, Kogi people have had a very raw deal this past 7.5 years. Now, you go to the Igala area. The Igala people are also very agitated. It's the first time, for instance, like I always joke, that they find themselves sitting in the waiting room because they want to see somebody in government house. Back to back, it's been somebody from there or not, except for the military period. As far back as 1992, as a much younger one, less than 1 year of the creation of Kogi State, I was headhunted from the Daily Times where I was and made Director of Information in Kogi in 1992. I served Prince Abubakar Audu and also worked with his successor, the military administrator, Colonel Paul Omero. I worked with his successor, Colonel Zigu Lassa Fakriya. So, I think I know a bit about the socio-political dynamics of the state.
You certainly talk more about that in just a moment, but pardon me, we need to go to break. But we'll be back and let you dissect it a little further. Stay on with us.
Heartburn and indigestion? Try Just Aide. My recommendation for the past 26 years, Just Aide. Reliable remedy for heartburn, indigestion, flatulence, and acidity.
Oh yes, Dr. Tunde Olusunde is still here with us. He's a media practitioner and a former presidential advisor from 1999 to 2007. That's a long time to have an advising president.
You've also said advisor now.
I don't know, but let us take a look at. You've talked about the factors that will be determining, how any of these candidates whom you have stated their, their ethnic affiliation, how they will fare. You've talked about spread, experience, courage, comportment, and is it personality? Yeah, personality is the last one now. But when you look at all of them, and when you look at the fact that you have three very visible candidates from Kogi West, you have this one visible one from Kogi Central, and at least 2 visible ones. I know there are a lot more candidates, but these are the ones that one can easily mention their names. And you have looked at the factors which will determine whether or not you'll be able to make any meaningful impact. And you also look at the playing field, what it is that they will be up against. The umpire, INEC, says that it hopes to do better in this forthcoming election. How is that quickly now, the message of INEC doing better. Have you been able to test the pulse on the ground and see whether the candidates are enough to excite people to also have some confidence in the electoral umpire?
Thank you very much. As it were, like the question you posed about the candidates from Kogi West, for instance. Today is a Tuesday, and as they say in politics, 24 hours is a very long time. We don't really know what is going to get down by Thursday, by Friday, because principally, the Kogi West people want the governorship, they want the trophy. Chamberlain talked about the issue of Kogi Central and a monolithic candidate the other time. But you probably also know that the victory of Natasha Akpotiuduaghan of the PDP, who reclaimed her senatorial seat the weekend, has also added impetus to what is going on. To this extent, it probably is, probably going to be a diluted Kogi Central we're going to have. In Kogi East, yes, we may have just about 2 or 3 very visible candidates, but there are about 9 of them, and so everybody's going to be plucking at the votes. So, like I said, things remain fluid as we speak. We don't know when politicians, candidates, and so on will lock themselves up in a room and say, can we all work together for this common cause? Because as people say, well, sometimes get it first and then, move on from there.
What about the umpire? Do you think that there's sufficient confidence on the ground for the umpire?
Very, very, very important question. Maybe I should say, and this is not particularly about the umpire, but about circumstances that may compel the umpire to do a very good job. Last Thursday or thereabouts, the Chief of Defense Staff, Christopher Musa, was in Kogi State, and he gave instructions about, the deployment of the security services. I've seen a few things on the social media, and suddenly people are getting a bit excited about the fact, wow, the kind of brigandage, the kind of thuggishness, and similar things that were witnessed about 4 years ago, where, our people from my state sang themselves to national recognition, playing on the sound of the bullet. That may be a different scenario this time. From what I gather, there will be collaboration between the agencies. We have a naval unit in Kogi State. The Chief of Defense Staff came to talk about the army, who have been on all kinds of drills. The secret police is there. The civil defense is there. So we are believing that the police, they're going to be working together. And that will be very important, to instill voter confidence. Don't forget, too, that we wrote ourselves to global notoriety in Kogi last year when we had a scenario where a helicopter was actually procured to hover the sky and fire people down there. I want to believe that the present dispensation, will disallow that. This probably will also excite people and encourage them to go out.
So as if we can wind down with a few minutes now, what do you think is the disposition of the presidency on this matter?
Well, we want to just take off from his own admonition. We hear that the president said there should be level playing field for everybody. Government should be dispassionate. Let's hope that the orders will be carried out, because the problem we always have at the last minute is that of compromise. Unfortunately, integrity has become a very cheap commodity. It's so easy now to procure people, put them in a room, ingratiate them with bags of money, and they begin to, sing another tune. But let's hope that the president is able to stand on this, and let's hope that as commander-in-chief, his words and his admonitions to the various subsets of the election will hold water, and people will
there'll be several voices. If the president says level playing field, there'll be voices, probably his members of the party will say, yes, Mr. President, but we can't afford to lose, we can't lose this state. We're a ruling party, we'll have to show ourselves and make sure we win, albeit legally. And then the president, of course, they also want to make sure that they restore confidence, public confidence in both INEC, judiciary, and the system, so that people who were, hitherto dissatisfied will say, okay, well, a level of transparency. But there's also voices. There are voices saying, well, they're not exactly sure if the president is supporting the party in the state. And then others say, wait a minute, would the president say level playing field? What if the PDP wins? We know that the candidate of PDP was not, was antagonistic sometimes to the senator. So all of those dynamics, just wondering, so how will all of this play out? Do they count for something or at all?
This election, we're talking about Kogi now, but don't forget there are 2 other elections on the same day.
Yeah.
In Imo and Bayelsa. This is an opportunity for the president and this administration to show that they have become electorally born again, to the extent that they ensure that my vote and your votes, count in Bayelsa, in Kogi, and in Imo. This is a test case of their neutrality and our capacity to be a true democracy.
Let's see if anybody can say at the end of these elections, go and sin no more. Well, if the electorally born again. But Doctor, a pleasure having you. We'll look forward to at least some more time to take a look at all of these scenarios as interesting
and
as
coffee
they
for
are.
me next time too.
Absolutely.
So that Mokwe is not the only one.
Yeah, it's going to be on the house.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, consider it done.
All right, then.
Well, back in just a moment, everyone. Stay on with us.